The first official communication from Battlefield Studios and what they are changing based on the feedback that they found in the beta for Battlefield 6. The changes that they're making to Battlefield are significant and going to directly change how the game is played. Changes coming to the weapons, movement, maps, modes, and even the closed open weapons system, and of course player counts, which was a big issue during the beta. Though there are some key omissions from the update that we definitely need to talk about. So if you guys want to know everything, make sure you stay tuned throughout the whole video to understand all the details. So they first talk about the weapons and the changes they're making, specifically the shotgun. So let's get right into it. Saying that they're making a general pass on recoil and tabfire characteristics across all weapons, further emphasizing their unique feel and improving their range differentiation. These changes are made to encourage more controlled tap firing and burst firing, rewarding precision and weapon mastery. Now I will say for my initial impressions of the weapons that yeah, some weapons were a bit of a laser beam, but they tend to balance it out with lower damage and oftentimes lower fire rate, meaning that you can laser beam, but it's going to take a few more shots. I never really found any weapon that was the clear overpowered choice. I think this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction that we saw from a lot of streamers going like, oh my god, there's no recoil in this game. Like, guys, do you remember Battlefield 3 and 4? Like, there really wasn't much recoil in that game. And of course, we're talking about the M87A shotgun. This thing was a beast during the beta. It says now the nerf will happen where it will require more pellets to secure a kill. And we are investigating time to kill, the time to death experiences, and we've shared updates and definitive updates when it comes to things within this area. I think this is definitely needed. The shotgun was very nice, but it was effective. I didn't think it was too effective because if you start spamming shots with that shotgun, your shots were going all over the place, but that initial shot was always key when it comes to a pump action shotgun. I would like to see just like the fire rate reduce, maybe the effectiveness, again, with the spread requiring more pellets, but probably reduce that range a little bit. We just have to wait and see how it actually plays out. Now we're also getting some massive changes to the movement within this game, which has seen a little bit of controversy. I mean, seeing clips of players doing this within Battlefield is initially really concerning. Like, of course, this is kind of like a viral trend we see whenever a new game releases, where we find people who are trying to break the movement within this game, which that bunny hopping gets addressed within this patch right here, where I don't feel like the majority of players are utilizing the movement like this, but saying that this is capable is rather concerning, and this is exactly what DICE is looking to address. Saying movement mechanics have been adjusted to traditional Battlefield experience, saying momentum, especially horizontal speed, carried from a slide has been reduced. A greater penalty for consecutive jumps, which lowers jump height when jumps are being spammed. A big one that I actually utilized quite a bit while playing was the sliding mechanic, saying that firing while jumping or sliding will result in increased inaccuracy, which I would kind of agree. There were definitely moments where I was utilizing the slide in the game that it kind of felt a little kind of COD-like, you know, sliding around the corner with hip fire with an SMG, which is a very nice tactic. If you guys didn't give that a go, definitely try that out. But yeah, I agree. Like stuff like that for Battlefield, I'm not a big fan of. I want to see that slide being used more as a tactical advantage rather than helping you win gunfights. They also mentioned the parachutes, which is one important aspect that I saw that the physics of it were not exactly what I thought a Battlefield game should have. And they're addressing that directly, saying that parachute physics have reduced initial acceleration when opening the parachute for more controlled aerial movements. I'm all for this. Next, they talk about map and some exploits that were happening, especially on Siege of Cairo and other maps as well, where people getting out of bounds, and also addressing the big topic that's been going on about the beta, and that's map size. And they try to reassure you, but it's not that reassuring. Saying that the observed players finding ways to get on rooftops, this was not part of the initial design. Even with the upcoming ladders for the assault class, they were not designed to get to the locations that they were getting to. So they're doing active passes to make sure that that's not going to happen. Probably put some invisible walls out. There are video tutorials out there. I'm pretty sure this will get patched before the launch of the game. Saying that we've also heard strong feedback from players excited about the large-scale maps that Battlefield has to offer. While the open beta featured smaller, more fast-paced maps, larger scale maps are already part of the launch package, delivering action-packed gameplay and memorable, unique moments for every player. As part of the upcoming Battlefield Labs testing, we will be testing 2 new multiplayer maps, Mirak Valley, and the other the remake of the fan favorite from Battlefield 3, Operation Firestorm. These 2 maps include full complement of vehicles like Liberation Peak, along with a vast combat space. Now, the big thing I think they're not really addressing here, which is kind of like by omission, is that people are not really upset that they are getting these maps. We know that they're coming in. We've seen at least the images and leaked talk about this. The biggest thing is that there's not enough of these large-scale maps for Battlefield, which the gameplay is known for, that mix of large-scale infantry and vehicle gameplay. Because even the larger-scale maps like Liberation Peak are not really that large compared to what we've had previously. Look at these maps right here from just previous Battlefield games. You can see right here, this is the size of Liberation Peak. Compare that to, say, Paracel Storm, or also the Siege of Shanghai map, or even Zavad 311, much larger scale maps for what they all deliver. But of course, something like this, you can't take at face value. These are kind of just fans trying to justify like what they're seeing out there. This isn't 100% accurate, but you're kind of getting an idea that like, yeah, Liberation Peak wasn't really that large scale of a map, but there was some extra information that we did get about map sizes, specifically in Mirak Valley, which is going to be much larger than, say, Liberation Peak. This size comparison right here that was found on Reddit showed cases like the white outline being Mirak Valley, the largest map in the game, where this was Siege of Cairo. This blue map is the other map that has not been released yet for Battlefield 6. So you can see that there are larger maps out there, but even then, like, this is still a large-scale map, but maybe not as large as we've seen previously in Battlefield 4. Again, this is a little bit getting off a tangent. I'm saving it for my Battlefield 6 beta review, which I'll do later soon and then on this channel. Next, to talk about modes, specifically Rush, which does not play well in Battlefield 6 from my experience. And they basically went through their discussion, their thought process behind what they did for the Rush mode in this game. And for the most part, they're kind of digging their heels in a little bit right here, saying like, yeah, we tested out larger scale servers like 64 and 100, even 128 players for Rush in these type of modes. It just doesn't really work out super well, which I would definitely agree. I mean, like the glory days of Rush, we think of like Bad Company 2, that like those were like what, 12v12, 16 for 16 type of maps, nothing too crazy there. But they basically state, hey, if you want larger player counts for Rush, go play Portal, and which Portal will have options to earn XP, but that's the big thing, is that like if you're going to have to force players to go play Rush in Portal, can you still progress through your challenges and your battle pass like you normally could through just playing the game? And they also mentioned how Breakthrough was kind of like that large-scale Rush experience that you wanted, but more balanced properly. They did state that they're looking to make any kind of changes to the map design and the player counts of various maps to kind of get more towards a 50-50 win ratio for attack and defenders. Now, one of the biggest issues for me about this game, which I'll talk about later in my Battlefield 6 beta review, is the open and closed weapon system. And they do address this within this update, but it's kind of just like, talking about how they wanted to bring flexibility to players for the playlist options within the game, which they didn't mention anything about the UI as well, which is, the UI for this game was pretty rough. They mentioned just playing with both open and closed weapons will continue to be an option in Battlefield 6, and we are looking for ways to keep them easily accessible. If you guys noticed, throughout the entirety of the beta, the closed weapon playlist was always behind the open weapon playlist for the way they do their UI. This Twitter user brings that up as well, where we saw here, especially when it comes to like all-out closed weapons, you had attack, defend, conquest, and custom search, all open weapons, by the way. And they had closed weapons all the way over here, kind of starting to get buried. I even saw some closed weapon options getting buried to the slide bar of the UI, which, I mean, we only see like 4 tiles of what you can play with in the game. Like if you had just like a vertical list, it's so much easier, gives you so much more space, and it just looks better and it functions way better as well. So what's coming up next? They do mention after the beta, basically they're going to be doing some more Battlefield Labs testing with some of the new maps, and also say join the Discord to keep up to date with any kind of information, but they didn't mention anything about another beta or another time to jump into play. I didn't expect that to happen, especially since we're so close to release. I mean, October 10th seems far, but it's not really. If you guys enjoyed the video, found it informative, make sure to subscribe for more Battlefield content, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.